From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Olumide Macaulay.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Inspector General of Police orders Assistant Inspectors General of Police, heads of all police formations, to reclaim the public space and restore normalcy across the country. He says enough is enough. 5 persons arrested in Ibadan for breaking into a senator's house in Ibadan as rampaging youth target homes of political figures in Oyo and Cross River State. The looting spree continues as some residents in Osun, Kwara, Plateau, Cross River, Ekiti, and Taraba State go on rampage. And Guinea's Alpha Conde wins controversial third term after disputed presidential election with 59.5% of the vote.
And on sports news tonight, Real Madrid edged past bitter rivals Barcelona in the first El Clasico to go 6 points clear at the top of the La Liga.
Senator Victor Ndoma Egba's house in flames right now. Senator Victor Ndoma Egba's house in flames right now. Right now. Senator Victor Ndoma Egba's house is on flame right now. Right now.
The Inspector General of Police has ordered Assistant Inspectors General of Police and other heads of police formations to reclaim the public space and restore normalcy in their various areas of jurisdiction. The IGP Mohammed Adamu gave this order in a statement released today, ordering the immediate mobilization of all police operational assets and resources to achieve the objectives, saying enough is enough. The statement signed by police spokesperson Frank Mba reads in part, "The IGP, while noting that enough is enough to all acts of lawlessness, disruption of public peace and order, and wanton violence which have resulted to indiscriminate looting of shops, malls and warehouses, damage to property and loss of lives in some parts of the country, further directs the police strategic managers to personally lead and coordinate the operation and use of all legitimate means to halt further slide into lawlessness and brigandage." The IGP is asking the senior police officers to mobilize their men and work in sync with command commissioners of police in the areas where they are domiciled to dominate the public space and ensure peace and safety in the affected areas. The police chief also calls for understanding and cooperation of citizens, asking them not to panic but rather assist the police to ensure public order and safety is restored. The IGP's warning comes as lawlessness spreads across the country, and it appears that notable politicians and government officials are now being targeted in the mob action.
Right now, Senator Victor Ndoma Egba's house is on flame right now.
In Calabar, the Cross River State capital, the residence of former senator representing Cross River State Central, Victor Ndoma Egba, was razed by angry residents. The bungalow located on Asari Esor layout was set ablaze shortly after household items in the building were removed by some of the residents.
Senator Victor Ndoma Egba's house in flames.
March.
As that was going on, Senator Gershom Bassey's family house was not spared. The duplex, which houses extended family members of the lawmaker representing Cross River South Senatorial District, was invaded by enraged residents who carted away various items in the process. Extended to public and private offices and investments, including the Nigerian Labour Congress, a bank, and a filling station owned by a relative of the Cross River State Governor.
This is the first bank at 8 miles, which the hoodlums destroyed last night. As you can see, even the ATM has been destroyed. Nothing is working here. Nothing.
Meanwhile, it was a free-for-all situation at the Cross River State garment factory, where some residents carted anything they could lay their hands on. The incident occurred despite the 24-hour curfew imposed by the Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, following the looting of food items from the state's food bank in the aftermath of the EndSARS protest in the state. In a state broadcast, Professor Ben Ayade called on residents to desist from destroying property and make their intentions known to the government.
EndSARS protest has taken a different dimension in the state. We, the people of Cross River State, we are known to be peace-loving. We are people who love our neighbors. We are very caring and very nice people, highly civilized. Same with our young people. But Grace Cross Riverians, if we destroy our own assets as a state with one of the lowest allocations in the country, we will not have the ability to rebuild. The factories, the garment factory, the industrial park, this Galachika, the cement factory, all the factories we have built, the idea is to create jobs. On the issue of palliatives and being available in a warehouse, every state will have palliatives in the warehouse. Let me thank and acknowledge CACOVID for the massive supply of all these palliatives. Note that as you empty your stock, they restock. This keeps coming. For Cross River State, our last receipt was on the 12th, just last week. We were also told clearly that they want to do a press briefing when they are handing over. So this stock, Cross River should not touch them until they come. The way bill is available, and we've shared the way bill on the internet to show that that stock arrived on the 12th. By 12th already, this tension had started building, and we were already waiting on them.
Meanwhile, the Oyo State Joint Security Outfit Operation Burst has arrested 5 suspects following the looting of items at the home of the Chairman, Senate Committee on Local Content and lawmaker representing Oyo Central Senatorial District, Senator Teslim Falari in Ibadan, Oyo State. Motorcycles, sewing machines, generating sets were among the items carted away by the angry residents. Meanwhile, reports indicate relative calm has returned to the city. Senator Falari has condemned the house invasion, says looted material were meant for his mega empowerment program. In a statement released, the senator described the attack as evil, barbaric, and unfortunate. He commends what he describes as the civil and professional conduct of security personnel drafted to his house, while asking the Oyo State government to strengthen the state security.
It's crazy out there. It's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. People are moving new bikes. It's 12 p.m. Saturday, October 24th.
Staying with the aftermath in their large numbers, these residents of Ede Osun State besieged this warehouse, apparently to cart away food items which were stored by CACOVID, a private sector initiative supporting the fight to mitigate the effects of coronavirus. Still in the southwest, some persons in Ekiti State also invaded the federal government's silos and agric development program warehouse in Ado Ekiti, the state capital, looting bagged items and other material. Parents' surprise and delight also hit residents in Calabar, the Cross River State capital. And no one wants to miss out on the opportunity as they make away with relief materials stored in the warehouse.
Peace, go peacefully and come out peacefully. Go peacefully and come out peacefully. No wahala.
This is in Kwara State, North Central Nigeria. Another COVID palliative material stored in a cargo terminal at the state airport. Hundreds flooded in and out with their loot.
Let there be peace. Don't attack anybody. Just go and come out. Please, don't destroy anything. Just go in and come.
This is Plateau State, Jos. Today's date is 24th of October.
Meanwhile, the warehouse storing emergency COVID-19 palliatives suffers the same fate in Bukuru, just south local government area of Plateau State. The storage contains various items ranging from grains to pasta and agricultural equipment.
What a government! What a government! Look how people are struggling.
And in Jalingo, the Taraba State capital, angry residents in their numbers broke into a warehouse containing COVID-19 palliatives provided by CACOVID, Northeast Development Commission, as well as the victim support funds. Security agencies who arrived at the scene watched as the looters carried away the relief items meant to cushion the effects of COVID-19 pandemic in Taraba State.
Are we here?
Meanwhile, in Kwara State, Governor Abdul Rahman Abdul Razak has declared a 24-hour curfew in Ilorin metropolis due to the looting and destruction of business and public facilities in the last 24 hours. Announcing the curfew in a state broadcast, the governor says it will commence by midnight today, while describing the looting as an act of criminality of people hiding under the nationwide tension to commit crime.
Just go in and come out. Peacefully, please.
The government has a duty to protect law-abiding citizens and properties. Lives are being threatened, businesses are being looted. Public properties are also being targeted. This is unacceptable and it is not who we are. To curb this act of criminality, I hereby declare 24-hour curfew in the Ilorin metropolis from midnight. People are urged to stay indoors in compliance with this curfew. This will be reviewed as we watch developments. While the curfew is on, security forces have been placed on the alert to maintain the strictest compliance.
Meanwhile, some arrests have been made following the looting and vandalization of a mall and other government property yesterday in Ilorin. This was confirmed by the Kwara State Commissioner of Police, who urges parents to warn their wards against vandalism. The police boss stated this while briefing journalists when he led them on what led to the declaration of curfew by the state government.
Having successfully got into the warehouse and have taken everything in the warehouse, we thought that they would just go back to their homes. But they refused. From there, they were even encouraged to do more. From there, they went to another mall at Magric, successfully looted the warehouse there. From there, they moved to custom office, attempted to force their way into the premises of the custom office, but they were repelled. From there, they moved to ShopRite. They succeeded in looting ShopRite, and from there, they were still looking for more shops and malls to loot. They actually looted so many shops and robbed so many individuals on the streets. That was the incident that happened yesterday.
In part 2, after the break, more on the aftermath of the EndSARS protests as police in Imo State gear up to tackle breakdown of law and order in the state. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television, Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Inspector General of Police orders Assistant Inspectors General of Police, heads of all police formations to reclaim the public space and restore normalcy across the country. He says enough is enough. 5 persons arrested in Ibadan for breaking into a senator's home in Ibadan, as rampaging youth target homes of political figures in Oyo and Cross River states. The looting spree continues as some residents in Osun, Kwara, Plateau, Cross River, Ekiti and Taraba participate. And Guinea's Alpha Conde secures controversial third term after winning the disputed presidential election with 59.5% of the vote. In the aftermath of the EndSARS protests, the Kaduna state government has imposed a 24-hour curfew in some communities in Kaduna South and Chukun local government area. This followed the looting of warehouses where COVID-19 palliatives were said to be stored by some residents. The residents went to Gwari Avenue, where they discovered a warehouse and immediately forced it open and carted away food items. An attempt by security operatives to stop them proved abortive. The government directed security agencies to arrest and prosecute anyone found violating the curfew and those responsible for the looting. Meanwhile, Edo State is also in the eye of the storm as some residents broke into a government warehouse of medical stores on Medical Stores Road in Benin City, the state capital. A young man was said to have died, however, after he allegedly joined others in the act. It was gathered that in an attempt to get away with some COVID-19 palliatives stored in the facility, he fell and died. Also in Edo State, the state government has been reacting to the looting of the items at the government warehouse in Benin City, the state capital. The government explains in a statement by the Special Advisor, Media and Communication Strategy to the state governor, Mr. Crusoe Sage, that the warehouse was used to store relief material and medical supplies for emergencies. He said the distribution of the items to the vulnerable and poor population has been ongoing for the past 7 months to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 crisis in the state, adding that the items looted include vaccines, high-end equipment, and other supplies. While condemning the action of the rampaging residents, the government notes that other warehouses for food supplies in the state are now empty following the successful distribution of items to the people. He said the government had to fall back on the strategic reserve to alleviate the plight of people displaced by flooding. And security operatives today foiled an attempt by some youth to break into the Arts and Culture Center located in Area 10 in Abuja, the nation's capital. The attempted break-in was based on information alleging that the center was housing palliatives meant for the Federal Capital Territory. The residents who put up some resistance were dispersed by a combination of police, soldiers, and civil defense operatives when they attempted to block the roads around the area.
Following the violence that broke out when thugs attacked EndSARS protesters in Abuja and the intervention of the security agencies, the city experienced relative calm on Friday. But that was disrupted on Saturday when youths attempted to break into the Cyprian Ekwensi Center for Arts and Culture, located in Area 10, Garki, Abuja, alleging that palliatives meant for the people were stored in there. The center is just about a kilometer away from the defense headquarters, and just before the hoodlums could break in, security operatives were promptly at the scene to disperse them. Roads around the Art and Culture Center were cordoned off, and businesses in the ever-busy Area 10, which houses the popular UTC shopping complex, were grounded. Attempts by the youths to block the road were resisted by the security operatives. Raids in different states by angry youths on warehouses containing COVID-19 palliatives donated to states by the Coalition Against COVID-19, a private sector initiative to cushion the effect of the COVID-19 lockdown on Nigerians, have seen large turnouts. For many Nigerians, the raids on warehouses across the country in the past few days only indicates the level of hunger that exists in the country, and the anger that these palliatives should have been distributed a long time ago. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
More stories on the EndSARS protest fallout. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State has relaxed the 48-hour curfew imposed across the state on Thursday in a bid to halt the pockets of violence witnessed in the state. Governor Okowa, who made the announcement while speaking to newsmen after inspecting the torched buildings and vandalized areas in Asaba, said the curfew has been reviewed and will now last from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. till further notice.
So it appears that there are some people that are not quite happy with the beautification and the level of development in Asaba, but it's rather unfortunate. As I continue to say, that was not the intention of those who started the protest, but the criminal elements amongst us have come in and tried to perpetrate this level of arson and violence. It's obviously unacceptable, and our people must generally condemn it, including our youth. I believe that our youth themselves are quite unhappy with this. The curfew is being reviewed starting from this evening, from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. every morning until further notice, while people will be allowed to go about their lawful businesses and duties in the daytime from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
From the governor of Delta State to the governor of Osun State, Gboyega Oyetola, who has imposed a 24-hour curfew across the state after violence in which public and private property was destroyed. The decision was made during an emergency meeting between the state government and security agencies. The curfew is with immediate effect and till further notice.
After an emergency meeting of the security agency, including government, this afternoon, where the whole situation was reviewed and assessed, we came to the inevitable conclusion to declare a curfew. Consequently, I have declared a 24-hour curfew across the whole state with immediate effect. This inevitable conclusion was reached to avoid the continuation of this irresponsible act, especially now that the genuine protesters have suspended their protest earlier today. My fellow citizens, the declaration of a 24-hour curfew, which will be indefinite until further notice, is to prevent the current state of anarchy from degenerating into large-scale breakdown of law and order. For the avoidance of doubt, there shall be no vehicular, including Okada or Uber movement during this period. Only those on essential duties will be permitted to move around. These persons too must carry with them proper identification to allow access.
From Osun State to Imo State, where the police command in partnership with other security agencies have embarked on a show of force around Owerri, the state capital, following the violent protest that gripped the state in the last 3 days. The Commissioner of Police says the exercise is to put an end to violence as well as restore law and order. The Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Air Force, the Nigerian Navy, immigrations, Customs, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the NDLEA are the other security agencies who joined the exercise. Now, the Judicial Panel of Inquiry set up to address human rights violations and police brutality in Ogun State has swung into action. It's calling on the victims and their families to submit their complaints and grievances on or before November the 18th at the Magistrate Court in Abeokuta. The Ogun State government inaugurated the panel earlier in the week, promising to ensure the rights of persons within the state are respected and protected by security agents. The chairman of the panel, retired Justice Solomon Olugbemi, notes that all complaints must be supported by evidence. Meanwhile, another panel of inquiry has also been set up in Niger State with a 14-man membership to investigate cases of police brutality, abuse of human rights, and other extrajudicial activity. This follows days of protest by youth in the state, which centered on brutality and insecurity, but also touched on bad roads and poor power supply. The commission is expected to carry out its investigations and report to the state government within a month.
Somehow the protest that was genuine at the initial stage was hijacked and different elements and different interests and groups came into it, where we as governors are saddened by the turnout of events that has led to loss of lives and properties at various stages in different states. We are trying to curtail the situation. We are trying to meet to the demands of the genuine protesters so that we maintain peace and calm in Nigeria as a whole.
First, we have to call for a memoranda from all avenue, the print media, radio messages, and whatsoever. We can even reach out to the Mangua because our tenure is so short. We just have to deliver timely.
Staying with the aftermath of the EndSARS protest, the Lagos State government has asked residents to disregard videos on social media that it says are bent on creating religious tension and encouraging ethnic conflict. In a statement, the state government explains that the videos are the tools of divisive elements whose plan is to create hatred and disaffection amongst different tribes and religions in the state. The government is asking residents to coexist harmoniously in the midst of the sad incidents of the last 3 days. It also warns purveyors of inciting messages to stop or face legal action. Meanwhile, the Southeast Caucus of the House of Representatives has condemned the violence and killings that followed the shooting of peaceful protesters in Lagos. The caucus frowns at the destruction of property and business, including the palaces of traditional rulers and offices of police formations, as it is against the principles of a civilized and democratic society. The caucus cautions against any attempt by any individual or group using the protest to stir ethnic and religious tension in the country. It calls on the government to bring the perpetrators of these heinous acts to justice. Now, the federal government has says it's created a 25 billion naira youth fund as part of efforts to address the demands of the EndSARS protesters and youth restiveness in the country. The Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, made the announcement during a meeting with the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State in line with President Muhammadu Buhari's directive that state governors and ministers should dialogue with stakeholders to find solutions to the agitations of the protesters. She says the fund will be increased to 75 billion naira within 3 years to support youth with innovative and entrepreneurial ideas that they have in order to help them grow their business. Meanwhile, the Kaduna Deputy Governor says the meeting will also allow brainstorming towards tackling security challenges occasioned by the activities of the protest.
At the federal government level, what we're doing is we have created a youth fund, a 25 billion naira youth fund. This will be a fund that will be 75 billion over 3 years, but for 2021, we're starting with 25 billion. The fund is meant to support youths in being able to actualize innovative or entrepreneurial ideas that they have so that they can grow their own businesses be more productive and be independent, and hopefully actually employ other youths.
I want to use this opportunity to convey our appreciation to all the people of Kaduna State for, the peaceful way in which they conducted themselves. I think in Kaduna we've had our own fair share of crises, and we know enough, to want to be cautious in the way we handle such. And I think that was one thing that played out for us in Kaduna. I pray that we continue to have that kind of understanding that whatever it is that you don't get in peacetime, you don't get it during a war, and that we conduct ourselves in such situations that would warrant praise rather than something otherwise.
From the federal level to the state level, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has approved the immediate release of take-off funds of 2 billion naira out of the 6 billion naira earmarked for an accelerated youth empowerment program. In a statement, in a statewide broadcast in Owerri, the state capital, the governor says that the empowerment package will be deployed for the training of the first batch of beneficiaries of the Imo State Special Youth Empowerment and Intervention Program, which will begin next week. It says that an estimated number of 500,000 Imo youth in different skills and acquisition will be given startup capital.
To particularly salute my beloved Imo youth for making me very proud indeed. I've always known that I can count on you at all times. For heeding to my advice and promptly calling off your peaceful protest, I want to commend you. You've demonstrated uncommon maturity and patriotism in a uniquely troubled time of our nation. I'm very proud of you. Yet duty still becomes on you. The task is not complete until every single youth is pulled off our streets and kept a safe distance away from the reach of some unscrupulous elements whose demonic desire to unleash endless carnage in some parts of the state. My esteemed Imo youth, you will recall that during my conversation with you, I assured you of a dedicated empowerment package as part of my administration's determination to address your needs. I am glad to announce to you, therefore, that my government has approved an immediate release of a take-off 2 billion naira out of the 6 billion naira earmarked for an accelerated youth empowerment program. The 2 billion naira take-off fund will be deployed for the training of the first batch of the beneficiaries of this scheme, which will commence next week. The program will train in the first, second, and third batches an estimated number of 500,000 Imo youths in different skill acquisition programs within the next 2 years, and provide for them.
Also in Imo State, the youth have appealed to other well-meaning youth across the state to give peace a chance and halt the ongoing killings and destruction of private and public property across the state under the guise of the EndSARS protest. Addressing journalists in Owerri, the state capital, the leader of the group says as members of the EndSARS protest, they've watched with utmost dismay as the protest has been hijacked by hoodlums hiding under the guise of EndSARS. He appeals to youth to embrace peace in the interests of the state, while maintaining that the state government should be given a chance to address issues raised during the protest.
Anybody, but to tell people or any group that wants to destroy Imo State to give peace a chance. The governor at the state, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, is a progressive leader and a pure Democrat. That is why he supported genuine EndSARS protesters. In fact, to show major commitment, he visited and released people detained by disbanded SARS operatives for the number of days youth demonstrated in Imo State. He has never arrested, harassed, nor shot anybody, as recorded in other areas. but we have watched with utmost dismay the wanton destruction, burning, and killing of innocent people in Imo State. We want to remind the whole world that some of us here participated in the NSAS protest, but were never provoked by anybody to warrant burning police stations, local government headquarters, and killing people. Therefore, we want to tell people behind all this carnage that Imo youths are watching. We want everyone to embrace peace and not to take our peaceful disposition as weakness. Don't push us to the wall. Be warned. May God bless Imo State. Bless Imo youths. Imo youths.
Anybody that brings trouble in Imo
Also on promoting peace, but this time to Yobe State, where some Muslim youth under the aegis of the coalition of Yobe Youth for Better Nigeria have asked the NSAS protesters not to throw the labor of the Nigerian heroes past into jeopardy. The group, which made the call at a prayer organized in Damaturu, the state capital, said those in the northeast have had their fair share of conflict and should not pray for other regions to experience the same thing. They are urging all Nigerian youth to tolerate one another and not allow some individuals to harbor sentiments that will destroy the country, but should rather voice their grievances constructively.
Actually, what prompted us to organize such kind of movement is the current situation that is disturbing us as a result of #NSAS issue. So we see that there is no impact of it because it caused a lot of problems, serious damage to the countries. With that, we sat down the whole of our team and we initiated this movement to call people to send like a wake-up call.
It was planned, motivated, and financed by those who are not willing Nigerians to live in peace and harmony. They thought with this myopic thinking and wicked plan that Nigerians will fight each other in the name of geographical differences or religious differences or political differences.
And from the northeastern region to the southeastern region, but staying on the same issues of the aftermath of the NSAS protests, the Anambra State Governor, Mr. Willie Obiano, has ordered an end to the carnage and violence across the state in the wake of the agitation. Governor Obiano gave the order when he received reports from the police on the number of police stations and other public facilities destroyed by miscreants during the protests. The governor maintained that his administration will not sit back and watch the destruction of all that has been built over the years. The meeting was attended by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Southeast, Celestine Okoye, Assistant Inspector General of Police, Damalam Mohammed, and the Anambra Commissioner of Police, John Abang.
I want to first thank the traditional rulers, the PGs, the Anambra youths that I called out 2 days ago and yesterday to support the police and ensure that no other police station is burned down. It is important to realize that these places that these miscreants are burning were built by Indian Anambra, so it's a self-inflicted injury that we're causing on ourselves. As your governor, I will not tolerate that. Enough is enough. I have intelligence about what they plan to do on Monday. We are ready for them. Blame yourself if anything happens to you. I have clearly fortified Anambra State. All the law enforcement agents will be supporting us. I want Anambra youths to come out and defend Anambra State from hooligans.
The national leader of the APC, the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has commiserated with Lagos residents and Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu over the Lekki Toll Plaza incident and the hijack of the NSAS protests by hoodlums who destroyed private and government property. The former governor, who paid a visit to the governor, Sanwo-Olu, today, decried the invasion and widespread looting of public and private assets. He lauded the governor for taking up the responsibility of passing across the demands of the youth to President Muhammadu Buhari.
Even though we want to help, we still must extract information that will help the government to prepare in future or understand how and when to react. Because the government, the governor in particular, is a youth. This is not what we inherit. Okay? They are youths themselves, himself. He quickly went to Abuja with a fight for 5. The government immediately put into action, dissolved his hands, okay? And they have to walk through other recommended action, the need they demanded. Within few days, he reported back to the public that he has been. We saw on television. He delivered the message to the president. The president didn't say no. The president gave him an appointment within a few hours. That's responsive enough for people to go down. But where are we getting the looting, the carnage, the burning, the invasion of a police station, and the stealing of arms, and maiming the innocent? It's a handshake beyond the elbow. I didn't go nowhere. I'm in Lagosha. And I still hold the title of Asiwaju of Lagos. Oh my God. And I'm still a Jagaban. Well, whatever they think, fake news is all over the place.
A group of young people made up of some NSAS protesters and others in Edo State have embarked on a clean-up exercise of parts of Benin City, the state capital, clearing debris left behind from activities of suspected thugs after the hijack of the peaceful protest. The Edo State Commissioner for Youth, who accompanied them to clear up the debris of burnt tires and other refuse, maintains that the protesters are largely coordinated in their commitment to seek reform in the country, indicating their readiness for leadership.
The message is that these are the real protesters of the NSAS movement. And we are here to let the world know that the real NSAS protesters are not the ones causing all these mayhems, are not the hoodlums, are not the ones attacking people. That we are ready to fix Nigeria. And as the youth of Edo State have all come out today to speak in one voice to say that these are the youth that are ready to fix Nigeria, to fix Edo State, starting from our state. So we want the public to know that the people that you are seeing here are those who need reforms in Nigeria, are those who want to fix Nigeria, are those who need a better society for themselves. And because we are the leaders of tomorrow, we believe that leadership starts now. And by the grace of God, the way we are taking it from now, I think the world will begin to see that these leaders, this youth of tomorrow, are ready to take up leadership.
It's just the beginning. As we have started today, some other youths who think that what we are doing is good
definitely they will want to join us. Edo must work, and Edo is working. So we as youths in Edo State, we have decided to come out alongside with the Honorable Commissioner to ensure that we remove the debris, that has been on the street due to the EndSARS protest, that the migrants, brought out a lot of things, burnt tires and all that. So we need to remove them. And we are doing that. It's going to be a continuous exercise. We will ensure that Edo State will be clean to complement the effort of government.
Outside Nigeria, there seems to be no slowing down on the ongoing protest for an end to police brutality and an institutional reform as Nigerian citizens gathered at Castlegate in Aberdeen in solidarity with calls in Nigeria and around the globe. Over 100 residents holding banners with different inscriptions waving the Nigerian flag shared their displeasure over the disregard of citizens' rights to peacefully protest the injustice meted out by some officers of the already disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS. A statement by the representatives of the group calls on the British government to speak directly with the Nigerian government on the issues and that an investigation be opened at the international level to bring the perpetrators of the killings to account.
We want to send a clear message to the Nigerian government to say enough is enough. We have a nation called Nigeria that is endowed, that is blessed, that is rich enough to allow a citizen of Nigeria to live a peaceful life. We are living in Aberdeen, United Kingdom. We have our interests in Nigeria. We are Nigerians. We hold it a duty, a responsibility to engage with the Nigerian government and send a clear message to them that police brutality is an offense against humanity. Army, military brutality and shooting of live bullets to peaceful protesting Nigerians is a crime against humanity. We are engaging with the Commonwealth. We are engaging with the Queen of England. We are engaging with the British Prime Minister. We are engaging with the Scottish First Minister. We are engaging with the Nigerian President, President Muhammadu Buhari, and telling you as an individual and as a father, a grandfather that knows the pain and the injustices that are happening. We want you, President Muhammadu Buhari, as a father of our nation, to take responsibility to rescue this generation. As a youth, as a father, and as a son, as daughters, and everyone that is identified with Nigeria, we are gathered here today in Aberdeen, United Kingdom, to send a clear message with this multitude to say, in Nigeria, enough is enough. Bring an end to SARS or whatever name that has been changed to. Bring an end to injustice. And we want full compensation to everyone that has been affected by injustice. Today marks the beginning of a movement of another generation that will change the course of leadership in Nigeria.
And away from the EndSARS protests, gunmen suspected to be Boko Haram insurgents have attacked Babangida community, the headquarters of Tamuwa Local Council in Yobe State. Babangida is a 50-kilometer drive from Damaturu, the state capital, and 50 kilometers from Dapchi, where 105 students of Government Girls Science and Technical College were abducted in February 2018. Channels Television gathers that the gunmen drove into the area in 4 SUVs, or rather vehicles, around 4 p.m., shooting sporadically. Police spokesperson in the state, ASP Duncan Abdul Karim, said that 1 policeman and 6 insurgents lost their lives in the fight. However, the military-based divisional police headquarters, as well as parts of the local government secretariat, were said to have been set ablaze by the suspected insurgents. Achieving 100% digital economy is centered on providing digital skills for the people. These were the words of the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami. He was speaking at the maiden edition of Digital Nigeria Day in Abuja. He adds that diversification of the economy could only be achieved through a digital economy.
According to statistics from the Nigerian Communications Commission, Nigeria has about 99.05 million internet users as at second quarter of this year. This is projected to grow to 131.7 million users by 2023. The NCC adds that digital penetration in the country stands at 46.6% of the population in 2020 and is set to reach 65.2% in the year 2025.
We're watching the stream.
October 24th every year has been set aside by the federal government as the Digital Nigeria Day. At this maiden edition, discussions center on plans to create an economy that's majorly digital.
Effort of building a digital economy is not restricted to public sector. However, in some areas, the role to be played by the private sector is even more important. We will have our national policy for digital innovation and entrepreneurship, and that will go a long way in promoting that e-commerce and other activities that will rely so much on digital innovation.
The journey towards a viable digital economy hasn't been a smooth one, and government agencies are catching up with the times and seasons.
The journey started just a year ago on the 23rd of October 2019 when President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, renamed and expanded the mandate of our ministry to cover digital economy. The journey is full of new opportunities, exciting possibilities, and significant challenges.
Leveraging on ICT to develop e-government services. Counter-operation service as a major aspect of financial inclusion strategy has been put in place for ease of doing business.
Many in this hall believe that there's no alternative to digitalization as the world has gone global and that everyone must be proactive and catch up to the times.
Time to bring you sports news with Kayode Alayade.
Thank you, Olumide. Welcome to Sports News. Tyson Fury has announced he will fight in London on December the 5th and will confirm his opponent very soon. Fury's third heavyweight showdown against Deontay Wilder had been set for December the 19th. However, the deadline was missed because of television commitments and difficulties securing the venue in Las Vegas, United States. This announcement means Fury is now set for his first fight in the United Kingdom since beating Francesco Panetta in Belfast in August of 2018 and will pave the way for him to then take on IBF, WBO and WBA heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua in 2021. And in the Spanish La Liga, Real Madrid averted a crisis in the best possible way by beating bitter rivals Barcelona 3-1 in the first MTL Clasico. Goals from Federico Valverde, Sergio Ramos and Luka Modric ensured the champions earned a 6-point lead over the Catalans. Ruben Garcia scored from spot 9 minutes from regulation time as Osasuna edged Athletic Bilbao 1-0. Eibar stunned Sevilla 1-0 courtesy of a 41st minute strike from Kike. And in the English Premier League, Phil Foden came off the bench to earn Manchester City a 1-0 draw at West Ham United after cancelling out Michail Antonio's spectacular first half opener. Wilfred Zaha scored and made another goal to inspire Crystal Palace to victory and inflict more misery on the bottom side. Fulham, Edison Cavani made his Manchester United debut from the bench but could not inspire his new side to a first victory at Old Trafford as they drew goalless with Chelsea. That will be all on Sports News. Back to you, Lumide.
Thank you, Kayode. On the foreign scene, Guinea's President Alpha Condé has won the October 18th presidential election with 59.5% of the vote, according to a full preliminary tally from the Election Commission. The victory, which requires confirmation by the Constitutional Court, gives a third term in office to the 82-year-old after a bitterly fought election in which the opposition said he had no rights to participate. President Condé says a constitutional referendum in March this year reset his two-term limit, but opponents say he is breaking the law by holding on to power. Results were announced in batches in recent days and already showed Mr. Condé with the lead, sparking street protests in opposition strongholds in which at least 17 people died. Opposition candidate Selo Diallo, who garnered 33.5% of the vote, claims he has evidence of fraud and plans to file a complaint with the Constitutional Court. The Polish President Andrzej Duda has tested positive for COVID-19. The 48-year-old joins a handful of world leaders who've caught the virus, amongst them US President Donald Trump and UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Here's more on this and other developments on our COVID-19 Global Update.
Szanowni Państwo,
in a video posted on Twitter, Polish President Andrzej Duda says he's doing well and will spend the next days self-isolating with his wife and working remotely after testing positive for COVID-19. He also apologizes to those who have to go into isolation after meeting with him. On Monday, President Duda attended an event in the Estonian capital where he met with the Bulgarian president, who is now isolating. He also met the Estonian president, who has since tested negative for the coronavirus. Meanwhile, Poland faces a surge in the coronavirus pandemic with a daily record of more than 13,600 new cases on Friday. The country has now entered a nationwide red zone lockdown that includes the partial closure of primary schools and restaurants. Elsewhere, French President Emmanuel Macron says his country will be fighting the virus until at least the middle of next year, as cases there surged past 1 million. On Friday, France recorded more than 40,000 new cases and 298 deaths. This makes France the 7th country to report more than 1 million coronavirus cases. And finally, the United States has broken its daily record for new coronavirus infections. On Friday, the country reported 83,010 new cases, bringing its total to over 8.4 million. The spike in cases comes less than 2 weeks before the presidential election on November the 3rd.
And the main news again. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, today ordered Assistant Inspectors General of Police and heads of all police formations to reclaim the public space and restore normalcy across the country. He says enough is enough. Also today, 5 persons were arrested in Badon for breaking into Senator Taslim Folari's house as rampaging youth targeted homes of political figures in Oyo and Cross River states. And Guinea's Alpha Condé today secured a controversial third term after winning disputed presidential election with 59.5% of the vote. That's it on the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Please stay safe and have a good night.